this is personal, like this is really hard.
A very personal story of building a family turned into what Amanda Bredlow says started to feel like a cruel game where insurance denials felt anything but personal.
I was getting turned on this very convoluted pinball machine of a path that didn't end up getting anywhere.
In January of 2020, Amanda and her husband, like many couples, decided they needed to turn to medical professionals to conceive a second child. It would be expensive, but they found a plan. While her work provided insurance in Washington state wouldn't cover fertility treatments, his policy with Cigna would cover up to $20,000 in things like tests and in vitro fertilization. So they signed Amanda up with a second policy.
We saw that this policy covered infertility treatments, and we wanted to take advantage of that.
But quickly, they started facing problems using the coverage.
We started doing the treatments, and then we started noticing that we were getting denied.
She says they were told to submit claims with her primary insurance, knowing they'd get denied, and then resubmit to Cigna, and do that for each individual treatment.
There was no way to resubmit the same claim. We had to start a new claim, and then that claim was denied because it was a duplicate claim. So this was ridiculous. Like, this went on for a year. This is extremely frustrating. I was in tears.
Each time, she says, they'd file, they'd be sent a letter, told the filing was a duplicate and invalid. And at least once, the exact medical treatment code listed as covered in the couple's policy apparently didn't apply. And no person she talked to, it seemed, could help her.
It didn't make any sense because the code matched. Even the appeals representative from Cigna was stumped as to why they were getting denied, and also my clinic was stumped as to why they were getting denied. It didn't make any sense. It wasn't lining up.
Eventually, Amanda's husband thought the denial paperwork began to feel almost inhuman.
The reasons were very vaguely worded. It was like, this is not in accordance to our policy, or something like that.
Then the couple saw an article by ProPublica, an article that claims Cigna-employed doctors were signing off on rejections without even reading the files, denying some claims at an average rate of 1 every 1.2 seconds.
My husband just had like a light bulb aha moment, like must be what's happening to us. This has got to be, there's no other explanation for this, like other than there's something weird going behind the scenes.
In California, attorneys who work with clients on consumer issues also saw the same story and investigated further. Now they're representing a client suing Cigna and plan to pick up more through class action.
Cigna's use of the algorithm impacts millions and millions of people, and they will all be included in this class action lawsuit.
The lawsuit accuses Cigna of using a computer algorithm to systematically deny claims in bulk without proper review by a doctor, something the attorneys on this case say is illegal under state law and potentially against federal insurance regulations.
They're supposed to use doctors to open up the patient files and examine the claim, examine the patient's history, complications, etc., to then use their expertise to determine whether that claim is medically necessary, whether that procedure was medically necessary. And Cigna is not always doing that.
Instead, attorneys explained to us there's a system called Procedure to Diagnosis, PXDX. It's a computer program that matches patient procedures with a diagnosis code. If the two don't match what the policy considers medically necessary, the computer denies the claim. And attorneys claim a doctor just rubber stamps that denial without a real review.
In some cases, people weren't reimbursed. In others, they may not have gotten necessary treatment. In 2 months, 300,000 claims denied. Cigna wouldn't talk to us for this story, but published a rebuttal to criticisms online, stating that its PXDX program was only used in a small group of inexpensive procedures, that 94% of claims in that system were approved, and that it has successfully helped us accelerate payments to physicians for tests and treatments.
What's going on here is that they're not using the algorithm to get benefits paid faster to their insureds, but rather they're using it as a shortcut to process their claims, which ultimately results in cutting costs for them, paying less claims, and ultimately stripping insureds of their rights under the policies. So it's not being utilized in the right way, and that will come out in this lawsuit.
Our investigation found Cigna isn't the only company accused of issues with claims processing. State enforcement records show Blue Cross of California was fined after admitting it had a coding error for more than 5 years that incorrectly applied certain office visit costs to deductibles. The insurance company said it found nearly 60,000 affected claims, amounting to an $8.5 million error it repaid customers years later. Other records show Encompass, which processes claims for companies including Cigna, had a backlog of paper records so massive it was 8 paper reams tall and only paid providers who repeatedly complained and lacked the capacity to process paper or electronic claims in a timely manner.
At the end of the day, the people that this is affecting are humans. These are human problems that I'm going through. Having an infertility diagnosis is a human problem that I have to deal with every day. And this is something that is not being taken on with a human approach.
Amanda and her husband have no idea if their claims went through PXDX. In fact, attorneys say it would likely be difficult for any of the hundreds of thousands of Cigna customers to know. The only way to find out is likely to try to sue and find out through the court process. The Bredlows continue to try to grow their family, losing multiple pregnancies. They only had $900 covered by insurance, and Amanda took a second job, a graveyard shift at a warehouse, to get a third insurance policy. But she says the delays she encountered with Cigna not only ultimately cost thousands of dollars, but likely precious and vital years.
My time was diminishing. I mean, I have limited time to try to do these procedures. I mean, as you get older, you run out of time. So I didn't have time to keep fighting this insurance company.